So, of course, you were the lead singer of the Heptones for many years. How did it all start for you and the Heptones?
Okay, well, the story continues. We all grew up in the said area in Trenchtown, and um, I met them. They are the two members of the Heptones. We met, while I had another little group started with a female singer, and that fell apart, and me and these two guys we connected, and the Heptones were born.
Yeah, and one of your tunes I really like is Book of Rules. What can you tell us about that when you recorded it?
Okay, actually, I was in Kennedy at the time, when Harry J wanted an album from the Heptones, requested an album. So I decided to go and meet the other two guys, which were living in Kingston, Jamaica at the time. So I met up with Barry, and he had this idea for this song, the Book of Rules, which the idea was given to him by a Rastaman. He was a painter. He came up with the idea, and Barry thought it was a great idea, which turned out to be so. So I got my acoustic guitar, which I usually use to check the chords out to set the foundation for the song. Sorry. So I listened to the song. He and we sat down, and he sung what he had. He had only the first verse and the chorus at the time, so I helped him to furnish the song complete, and we recorded it at RJ's studio. Differently, I played bass on it. I did all the arrangement. I did the which I usually do. It was nothing new. I always do these arrangements for the harmonies and all that. And after he sang vocals, the three of us went in there under my supervision. We did the harmonies, and a great song were recorded.
Yeah, definitely. And with the Heptones, harmonies were key, weren't they?
Oh yes, well, I used to love harmonies, which I transformed after a while in some of those great orange sections that after I was there playing bass and arrangements, I had it to Studio One sound.
Hmm. And what was it like back in those days, recording at Studio One and places like that?
It was my super excitement. It was at the top of the pops for me. I felt on top of the world. I was pleased with this position that I had, and I enjoyed it every single day from Monday to Friday, from 12 to 5 each day.
I bet you didn't. Of course, recording back then is very different from recording now, isn't it?
Oh yes, it was one take, and if you break in the take, then we'd have to do it all over again. It's not like now you can do adjustments after you can make a record now. You can make a track now, and you can pull and put stuff, to make it a better sound, or to your acceptance. Back then, you had to play the song a couple of times, and you didn't have much time to, because you had that song that you had like just 5 hours.
Hmm.
So
And that
you
was it.
know, yeah, and you back then we were working on just two tracks, stereo, which actually it started from mono, you know, and like everything else, you start and then you develop, that's how. And now we have multi tracks. Yeah, so
Yeah, I suppose it was more like a live performance back then because you'd all have to play it at the same time.
that's exactly what it was. The only thing that the 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 singer was not recorded at the same time. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
we did just the track, and then the singer would come in, like on Saturdays, and lay the vocals over the track.
So I said my favorite song from the Heptones. What do you think yours is? That's a hard question, but
Well, that's one of my favorite too. That's one of my yeah. But it has grown on me too. Um, tell you the truth, when I first heard it, I didn't think of it as such a big song. You know, um, but you can't predict music. You just never know where it's going to go or what's going to happen. So and it has become one of the most popular requested song that we have. And I really love it. And the thing about it is, I'm a major part of that song, so it's that important to me too.
oh yeah, I mean a fantastic song. And
It has
who,
become sorry, it has become one of the Heptones' biggest songs, actually.
yeah, I think it is. It always gets requested a lot, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, and after a while, I realized I see why too. Because of the statement and the kind of song it is. And that great bass line.
Oh yeah, yeah, brilliant. And as you say, you never know when you record a song, do you? How big it's going to be, or
You can't tell. You could never tell. You know, like a song I did called uh, Things That Come Up to Bump. That was another hit song for the Heptones and the singer. And there was another song that I didn't think it would have been a hit song when we were recording it. It was a big song for the studio.
hmm.
So, these things remind me that you just can't predict music.
And does it work the other way around as well? You think, oh, this is going to be a hit, and then it's
Well,
not.
I'm sure. I couldn't point at nothing especially, but I'm sure, because it works vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you performed in a lot of great places. What's one of your favorite places that you've performed yourself?
Japan, right off the head, and Europe, two of my most famous places to enjoyable, yeah, I should say. I enjoy working in Europe, right throughout Europe, because they are mostly what you'd call roots people, you know,
Reggae
and
roots,
that's
yeah.
yeah, and I love that. They're into roots music, roots reggae music, and that's great. I was really surprised when I went to Japan for the first time a long, long time ago too, and to see all those dread, dreadlocks, Rasta man. I wasn't expecting this. I was never even told to expect this too, so it was a major surprise. You know, with a lot of Jamaican, um, black Jamaican girls too as their female, with babies and all of that, and maybe wives. There are wives too. I would imagine. Hmm.
Yeah, and reggae's popular all over the world, isn't it?
Oh yes, oh yes, and more so since Bob Marley. Yeah, the heads of the corner of the world. You say Bob Marley, and they say, yeah, Rasta.
Yeah. It's quite funny about Bob Marley because when I first started doing my radio show, I didn't play any Bob for a while because I thought everybody thinks of Bob Marley, don't they? For obvious reasons, But I
Oh
thought,
yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a statement made a long time ago that I am to the music what Bob Marley is to the lyrics, you know. And I think they're referring to Studio One bass lines and the creativity of me being a part of all this.
yeah. Who are some of your favorite reggae artists yourself?
Um, Most of those people that have passed, like Dennis Brown, Alton Ellis, most of the majors from back then. Oh yeah, they John Holt, Gregory Isaacs, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, real legends. And
Real
ha
legends, yeah.
what do you think about reggae music today?
Well, it's not as strong as it has been, but it's still there holding its own. And I know that deep down reggae will never die. It's just that kids of today have they make their own decisions, and their own pathway musically. So a lot of them are trying to, you know, kids today too, they're trying to follow quick money, and whatever they see where the cash is happening, you know, they're going to be in that area, and they seem to make um, financial profit on doing this new style of music that they're playing, because it's sort of as its acceptance, I guess, you know, with the with each other. I was gonna say like with the world, but with kids on a whole,
Yeah,
they seem to be accepting this. So it happens and happen easier because reggae music, you know, originally is a music that's it's a music that came out of hardship. You know, it's not a music that when we started this, we were thinking of this all of this abundance of money. We weren't there for the money. We're there for the music. These kids nowadays, they're in it for fame and fortune, which there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But we learned it differently.
yeah. I mean, I watched a documentary recently about Toots Hibbert. Sadly, passed away recently,
Mhm.
and such a humble man as well. You know, I mean, it
Yes, yes,
seems
yes.
people of that generation were very much like that.
Oh yes, you know, because that was our environment. You know, back then life was hard but not harsh. You know, and now it has become really violent and tough. You know,
Yeah,
it's not as smooth as it used to be. You know, and things is totally different. You know, and I cannot pinpoint the reason for that, but I would think that it's a development as time goes on. You know, and this is where it's at. So
yeah. So, are you touring this year?
I hope so. The year just started, so I I it's in my expectancy, you know. So what I'm thinking that maybe the summer I should be getting some tours, and I'm not in for the kill you dead tours like I used to do, because at my age I want to take it much easier, you know. So
Yeah.
touring, I have to be checking out, you know, lesser dates to work instead of, you know, a pile of dates, and then you fall on your face in the middle of tour. I'm not looking forward for that, you know.
No. Less is
So,
more.
yes, so I have to be selective on tours.
Mm, yeah. And have you released any albums recently, or?
No, you know, because I'm very disappointed in the kind of music that's being played and being exposed more. It's not that I'm not getting that reward when I record right now, even though I'm still recording singles and putting them out, you know. And so I am not thinking of even an album right now, you know. Um, I'll be doing singles, and maybe eventually I put all most of those singles together and, you know, maybe have an album like that. But recording is not as exciting to me as it used to be. I'm not
Mm,
getting the reward from it. You know what I mean?
yeah, you prefer doing the live performances then than the
Right now,
recording.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that through the years, I'm prepared for more live performances now, because I have a catalog, you know.
Mm,
Yeah, and
yeah.
the kids are getting more more play, radio play. Right now, they're more, yeah, and for many reasons too. You know, they're all young people. The DJs are young people, and they're working together, which there's
Mm,
nothing wrong with that. And that's how it is. international with music, you know. Patti LaBelle is not being, I'm sure she's recording still, but I don't think she's getting played as she used to when she was a kid. They say this business is young people business, you know? Yeah, and I see that too. You just can't go around it. You know, when I was young too, I had my bit of that. You know, so I understand it, you know. I'm here as the grandfather in the business right now, you know, and you know, and will accept wherever I go and is accepted, you know.
Yeah, but it's something you could never give up, is it? Because it's you,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Yeah,
definitely not. That's the truth, you know. It has become a part of me and will be until that time, you know.
yeah. So how did you first get into music yourself?
Yeah, I I grew up amongst people who were very musical. Like my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, even my father. The very first guitar that I saw and touched was my dad's, an acoustic guitar. You know, at the time when I got my hands on it, it was warped and all of that. But that just showed me that he was musical too. You know what I mean? I can't remember him ever playing this guitar, but I remember he had a guitar. That's a sign of a person who is interested in music, you know?
Hmm.
So I guess my whole family was involved. My great grandmother, they were revivalists. That was an African church system that, you know, they brought with them, you know, from the motherland, you know, and they practiced that, you know, because it was a part of them. So I grew up around that. My mom and I used to sing a lot of solo duet songs, you know, and that's when I realized too that I was um, musical inclined, you know, because I sang harmonies came to me just it was a natural thing, you know. So I knew the music was in me. I can remember even an instrumental song was being played when I was about 7, 8 years old, you know, 8 years of age, and there was this man standing out on a shop place where my mom she ran that little shop, you know, and this music was being played on the radio, and it was an instrumental song being played, and I was there subconsciously singing my own melody and lyrics to this, you know, it's a foreign instrumental song, and the guy was touched. This man was standing there listening, and he said, "Boy, how you know to do that?" You know, and I said,
Hmm.
that hit me. That I said, I must have been doing something good, you know. And that was all subconscious, you know. I wasn't even thinking of doing this or to impress this guy, you know. It was just what was in me was coming out, you know. It's like you have a jar filled with water and you keep pouring it, so it's overflowing, you know. So it was all there all the time, you know, waiting to come out, waiting on its perfect proper time to expose itself, you know. So
Yeah.
it was all destiny, and it has happened. So here I am.
Great. And I'm going to play obviously some songs by the Heptones and
Sure.
yourself. What songs would you like me to play? I'm going to play Book of Rules, of course, but
Definitely. I'd like Equal Rights. It's one of my mom's favorite songs. My mom, every man has an equal right to live and be free, you know. So you could play that too. You could play Party Time, The Sea of Love, you know, which was an adaptation that we made popular because no one knew, even today, no one knows the original song, which was an American made song.
all right. So what was the original song then?
Well, the original song was A Sea of Love. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm sure you don't. I don't think you know the original.
No, I don't think. No, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, exactly. I
I know
understand.
your version, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this has happened to a lot of songs, back then. A lot of when Bob Marley and the Wailers, which was just the Wailers back then, were working for Studio One or working at Studio One, they they were given a lot of these songs that they recorded back then were cover songs.
Mm.
Yeah, because Coxon had an idea that whenever he traveled to the States, it would bring back records and give it to individuals and artists to reproduce. A lot of Alton Ellis songs, a lot of Ken Booth, even me with the Sea of Love and uh, um, um, there's another song too. I'm trying to remember here right now too. It's
Okay.
it's actually released, and it was
Yeah.
all in my corner too because I always followed Black history and try to make some songs to help, you know, with this situation. So, I did a song called "Be a Man," you know, um, and all these songs, to help support the movement, yeah.
Yeah, and back to reggae covers. I mean, there's something about a reggae cover, isn't there? I always think it sounds totally different, doesn't it? If you take a song that's covered in reggae, it's different, very different in a good way, obviously.
That's a thing that's a thing that we did, and I think we did that beautifully because our covers, made history. Yeah, it did really good, and I gotta lift my hat to England. England where a lot of Jamaicans repatriated to. When they had a hand in establishing music that we did in Jamaica. I think that was one of the first place that music went when it left Jamaica, England, you know. And we had all of those West Indians down there, and when they play it, all of the British people had a chance to hear that too, to be a part of that. The music had a part in bringing um, the West Indians and the British people together too.
Yeah, it's definitely left a great mark, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Leroy. It's been lovely to speak to you, and good luck. And thanks for all the music. It's been fantastic.
Thank you for having me, man, and good luck on what you do.